Know Your Candidate. Presented by Portland is Possible, broadcasted by XRAY FM. In this segment, we offer a brief background on the visionary candidates that are proudly standing and running for the acclaimed Portland Area City Council. For now, we have a candidate of District 2 that incorporates St. John's, Kenton, Hayden Island, Mississippi, and Alberta neighborhoods.
Hi, my name is Elana Pirtle-Guiney. I'm running for Portland City Council in District 2, which is north and much of northeast Portland.
What are the biggest impediments to Portland making progress on its environmental, economical, and cultural goals in the next decade?
A combination of will and funding. We have to commit ourselves to our goals and not make exceptions to them. And we have to prioritize funding to meet those goals. Portland for a long time has really struggled to get out of the crises of the moment that we're in and point ourselves toward the future that we are trying to build. And doing that it's hard, but we have so much going for us in this city. We have so much that we can bring together, especially in those areas of our culture and our arts where we have shown in the past. And if we point ourselves toward a future where we invest in and strengthen those parts of our community and our economy, we can absolutely get there.
What is the city's role in cultivating arts and culture?
The city needs to lay a foundation that allows our arts and culture economy to thrive. We have amazing creatives in Portland and people who are doing incredible work, both well-known work and also work that most people in our community haven't heard of yet. And we need to make sure we have space for our arts and culture economy. As housing prices have gone up, our commercial space costs have gone up as well. And I hear from folks regularly that for creatives in our city to be able to afford to take a risk is getting harder and harder. We need to make sure that we have spaces set aside for new artists to be able to afford to take those risks. We need to make sure that as we develop and grow denser, we still have opportunities for our arts and culture to thrive. As we get denser, that means that we're going to have music venues right up next to residential areas more and more. And we need to make sure that our noise ordinances account for those changes, but also are written in such a way that our music industry can still thrive. If the city sets the groundwork that our arts and culture industry can grow, then I absolutely believe we have the people here who will make that happen.
How can we make it easier for Portlanders to get to the central city by bike and transit pathways?
I talked to somebody the other day who's only been in our city for 5 or 6 years, but they said that it feels like every year there are more and more options for getting around our city effectively and safely by bike. And we need to continue that build out of our bike and pedestrian infrastructure. We also need to make multimodal transportation easier. Right now, if you are with a friend on bikes and you need to jump on a bus for part of your trip, gosh, finding a bus with 2 available bike racks is not reliable. So making sure that we have that multimodal infrastructure so that you can get from further parts of the city up some of our hills into downtown by bike and by on foot is also a really important part of the work that we need to be doing. As we think about the future of our downtown core, both our downtown center and also our broader central city, which does extend up into my district, into District 2 a little bit, as we think about what the future of those parts of our city look like, we will absolutely need to have more people accessing our city center by bus, by bike, by foot, and by train. And we're on the path to get there. We're doing it. We're building that out. There are some really great ideas I've heard folks talk about around having car-free areas in our central city. We need to figure out how that works for our businesses that are there, both our businesses that have folks commuting into work and also businesses that rely on deliveries. Maybe that's not a full-time area, but there are things like that we can do as well to help encourage active transportation and multimodal transportation.
How do we use or progress our current infrastructure to withstand substantial growth in the city?
Portland is growing. Portland is going to be a denser city than we are today, 10, 20, 30 years from now. And as we grow and have more pressure on all parts of our infrastructure, our roadways and our pipes certainly, but also our parks and our rec centers and our open space, that's part of our infrastructure, we will have more pressure on each of those systems. And again, we need to be planning for that today. So as I think about our roadways, bikes, pedestrians, buses use a lot less space per person than cars. So how are we making sure that those transportation options are easy options for people to choose, where we can move more people throughout our city more effectively and efficiently? When I think about our parks infrastructure, I used to be on the parks board, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about what our parks and rec centers look like 20 years from now. And gosh, if people think getting swim lessons or classes now at our rec centers are hard, imagine what it will be like when we're a denser city. We need to be finding space today for our next recreation centers. And as we have more apartment buildings, more ADUs, fewer backyards, fewer what I like to call private green spaces, if we want to make sure that we are still a sustainable city, we have to offset that with more public green space. More parks, not just our large destination parks, but pocket parks, those little one-block parks in neighborhoods across our city as well. And those are the types of planning that we should be doing now to make sure that we are still the vibrant, livable city 20 years from now that I think folks love about Portland.
What part of your district do you expect to change the most in the next 10 years?
Oh, I think this is a gimme for District 2. Lower Albina has so much coming with the capping of I-5, with the work that Albina Vision Trust is doing, with the changes that are coming around the Moda Center. That entire part of our city is going to look different 20 years from now. And what I love about what's happening there is we have real community-driven development, folks who are on the ground, and in this area, folks whose families were on the ground and aren't anymore, who are building up the vision for what that part of our city should look like in the future.
Lightning round. Where do you get your coffee?
I'm mostly a tea drinker. I feel like I shouldn't say that in Portland, but I love the Great North and Bison Coffee Shop both.
What's the last show or performance you saw?
I have taken my kids to a whole bunch of concerts and movies in the park this summer. I don't remember which the most recent was, but we've spent a lot of time in our parks.
What restaurant or food cart is totally underrated?
There's this fantastic Ethiopian restaurant on Alberta called Bole Ethiopian, and somehow it only makes like half the list of best Ethiopian restaurants. It's great. Check it out.
Should the President Teddy Roosevelt statue come back?
We have a group that is reviewing this. And frankly, if we are going to create citizen review committees, we need to trust them to come to the right answers. So I don't believe in wasting Portlanders' time. We've got a group that's looking at this.
If you had $5 million, what one thing would you buy for Portland?
$5 million doesn't buy very much, but I think right now we need to look at buying up some of the empty lots in our city that can then be turned into permanently affordable homeownership opportunities and parks to make sure that we have enough green space in the future.
So now you know your candidate, or a bit about them. We like to thank the visionary candidates, also like to especially thank all the volunteers and organizations that put this together. We couldn't do this without you. To look at each candidate, be a good Portland citizen, and to be a dashing and informed voter, listen to XRAY FM to learn about ballots and the new ranked choice voting system. And check out portlandpossible.org.